What's happening, everybody? Appreciate you tuning back in. This is going to be a market update video. I'm getting tons of questions in our Discord about what is going on, what is causing this market dump that we're seeing today, what's causing, all this FUD. What am I doing? How am I setting myself up for this? Am I stopping profit trailer? Am I taking more positions? How am I playing it? So that's what this video is going to be about. If you're looking at CoinMarketCap, you're seeing the BTC dominance rise, and we've talked about this many times in my videos. Basically, when you enter these bear trends, what's going to happen is these altcoins are going to tend to take a heavier beating than Bitcoin, because a lot of times people are cashing out of their altcoin positions back into Bitcoin and then maybe back into fiat if they want to, right? So that is what causes the Bitcoin dominance to rise in times like these. And then you also see a lot of these altcoin positions really get hammered. And this can be really frustrating if you're looking at, profit trailer, or if you're in your day trading portfolios, you're like, man, this just is eating me alive. And it does suck. So to answer the question, if I'm stopping profit trailer in a market condition like this, no, I'm not. I have my settings set up to where I go into sell only mode when the base currency drops too far. So that's just kind of wanted to throw that in for all you guys wondering about that. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so what is causing this market dump? A lot of people are pointing this out. And although this CoinRail exchange hack is a pretty big deal, I just don't see it being a legitimate catalyst to wiping out 300 or 30 to 40 to 50 billion dollars worth of market cap. We're sitting at 283 billion. Maybe 3 or 4 days ago, we were sitting at 310, somewhere in that range. And to see $40 million in crypto being stolen, knock off billions and billions of dollars in market cap, especially with CoinRail being not that big of an exchange, I think they do a couple million dollars in volume a day, which is hardly anything. If this was Binance or Gemini or Coinbase, this would be a different situation, but it's not. And so to me, when everybody's saying, oh, it's the CoinRail thing, it's what's causing all of this, I'm just kind of looking past it. I hope you're not using CoinRail, or I hope you weren't hacked at the very least, if you were using CoinRail. But, to me, I'm looking a little bit bigger picture, and what could be causing this profit taking. And I'm using that word because to me, this looks like profit taking, in this Bitcoin chart, right? We're seeing some really nice impulsive moves up. We saw it twice, and then we're seeing a nice move downward, and we're seeing this again today and over the past 2 or 3 or 4 days. But what could be causing this profit taking, and that's going to be the theme of the video, is maybe a bigger picture. So the CME and BTC exchange dispute led U.S. regulators to open price manipulation probe. So this is not new news per se. This was published on June 9th. But to me, this is more likely the catalyst for what we're seeing in this dump. And I don't think this is the only catalyst, and I'll explain once we get into TradingView a little more. But regulators from the U.S. Commodities Futures Trading Commission reportedly demanded extensive trading data from several cryptocurrency exchanges. Regulators requested data in order to investigate whether manipulation might be compromising prices in digital currency markets. This probe was basically followed by the CME group in December of last year when they launched their BTC futures. They launched in December. They settled for the first time in January. And something to keep in mind is CME is the biggest futures contract house in crypto for certain. And basically they're regulated by the CFTC. And that's very important to understand because they have to answer to somebody. And these crypto exchanges up until now really didn't have to answer to anybody. And so the CME is like, hey, listen guys, Bitstamp, Coinbase, itBit, Kraken, all of these exchanges, listen, we want all of your information so we know for certain that these futures prices aren't being manipulated and, different trading schemes aren't occurring. And this is really important because I think it's possible that some big whales or big institutional money that came in even, not even in April, but even before that at our all-time low, or not even our all-time low, obviously, but our most recent low from our highs, at about, what was it, 6,000 or 5,800, somewhere in there. A lot of money funneled in. There was huge volume, nice giant green volume candle here. And then we definitely had another sell-off, profit taking in this area here. And then once again, that happened in this area, and we saw like a 40% increase in price, 53% increase in price in the course of maybe 2 weeks or so at the most. And that drove the market cap of the entire market up, I don't know, $100 billion or so. And to me, to bring in $100 billion into a market would mean, you know, there's some big whales coming in and out, and then there's institutional money coming in, and then obviously just the FOMO in the markets with all the retail investors like us. But news like this, where it's possible that there could be some sort of price manipulation going on in these massive exchanges, could lead big time, you know, hedge fund or institutional money who practice, you know, not losing money, and that's their daily job, is to make returns for their investors, to maybe get a little bit of fear in their you know, books, right? They're like, okay, listen, if Bitstamp, Coinbase, 8bit, and Kraken, if just one of them has any sort of manipulation going on their order books, you know, that could cause price action to decrease dramatically. And so, in my opinion, what is possibly happening right now is we're seeing, obviously this looks like a triple bottom, but we're seeing profit taking. And in my opinion, what seems to have happened is a lot of these, the smart money per se, came in and purchased at these bottoms, right? And you saw this double bottom right here. And you saw some massive increases over the course of one day. Even this was like a 20% day from wick to wick. And when you see that kind of volume and that kind of price action, you know, it's definitely coordinated, right? It's some sort of, it's got to be some smart money coming in. And my outlook on it is, if they're buying at these relative lows that we've seen, the selling pressure starts to dry up when you get down to these recent lows. And that's pretty much where we're sitting right now. We're at this triple bottom here at around 6,500. You know, you can give or take a couple $100 based on whatever chart you're looking at. But to me, that's what this is signifying is, hey, how much more can these investors who bought in at this $6,500 mark afford to really sell below this green line? That's kind of my optimistic, kind of bullish look on this. Not to mention there's a lot of indicators that we can use. One that's really good, that's been good for forever, and we've used it a ton of times on the channel, is the RSI on the daily candles. You're seeing that this has played out pretty well over the past, I don't know, 6 months. I mean, since our all-time highs, we're looking at about 178 days or so. So about a half a year that we've been sitting in this bearish trend, and this daily RSI has signified a bottom 3 times in a row now. And so we've seen this daily RSI go into the oversold position back in here when we hit our $5,800 mark or whatever it was when it wicked, I guess about 6,000. And we saw it here again, approaching that oversold mark right in here. And then right now we're in the oversold mark, right at this $6,500 mark. So to me, that's a pretty good indicator of we hopefully have seen this triple bottom. Something to look for before you maybe make any, you know, rash decisions is you got to look for the impulsive daily candles. These ones that we saw here. We had 2 really small days, and then we had 1 really nice green candle, and that signifies that, hey, we found this bottom, and that's what I'm looking for here. I do sort of expect us to kind of bounce around in the $6,500 to $7,000 mark for the next few days, and then hopefully we get that bullish impulsive candle in the upward direction, and we can kind of see this as, all right, we have our triple bottom, and that's a very bullish signal. So I'm also very, very keen on the volume indicator down here. This volume is very small for the market in general. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. That's where my head's at the moment. I wanted to touch on one other thing. So we're kind of, like I was saying earlier, is like all these exchanges, like we haven't seen them really regulated too hard. We're sort of still in the wild, wild west of the crypto markets, if you will. We're definitely approaching this regulation stage rapidly. But basically, I think this is important. So persons familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal that the CFTC is coordinating their investigation with the U.S. Department of Justice. Last month, the DOJ opened a similar but separate investigation into Bitcoin and Ethereum price manipulation. Anonymous sources told Bloomberg that the DOJ is investigating how traders could manipulate prices through illegal activities like spoofing and wash trading. So that's also really important to understand, is these sort of price manipulations where people will fill the order books with buy walls and sell walls and then pull them instantly right when they're about to be filled. You know, these kinds of price manipulations and profit taking are definitely happening. And so that it just kind of nails in my point where I think a lot of these institutional traders, the smart money, is definitely profit taking. They're sort of playing us like a fiddle. They're timing these bottoms. They're the ones who have the big money. They're the ones who can drive price action both positively and negatively very quickly. So that's important. I know that some bearish traders, I just wanted to bring this up as kind of an alternative. I know everybody says like, oh, it's a 50-50 outlook, you're awful at TA. Well, it's just something, you know, you can't get it right every time, and it's good to sort of think about the other possibilities. So one thing I like to do sometimes is look at the 1 week, and we can still look at the RSI on the 1 week. And I know some traders are saying, just like in a bullish run, the RSI doesn't seem to matter. And as you can see here, we hit this very overbought situation on the RSI back in this time frame, and we still ran up another 170%. So it's clear that the RSI, even in this area when we were overbought, we still ran up and never came back into like the golden zone here in the RSI indicator between 70 and 30. From this time frame to this time frame, we stayed above in the overbought situation, and we still rose another 100%. So a lot of these traders are saying, okay, well, just like in a bullish market, the RSI doesn't seem to matter a lot. The same can be true for the bearish trends. When, you know, we're falling, the RSI may not mean much and we can continue to fall. And they're not wrong. That is very true. But I like to look at the 1 week and get a little bigger idea. So a lot of traders are saying, hey, we might end up going into the oversold territory on the weekly RSI. Now, for me, I'm a little more optimistic than that, because the last time we've seen this kind of oversold territory on the weekly was 196 weeks ago. So years and years ago, since we've seen that. And although it's possible, I'm more of the opinion, and if that did happen, we would probably come down and approach this 200-day moving average, which would be like 3,600 or so. That would probably put us into the oversold for sure. But I'm definitely more optimistic about this, looking at this sort of triple bottom that we've seen. At the very least, this candle double bottom here, if you're not including this wick. I don't see us retesting this RSI of in the 30s or even in the 40s. Maybe at most we could probably hit the 40. That's just kind of my outlook. Obviously you have to do your own due diligence, but I'm looking at this I'm looking for an impulsive candle, and until we see so, my profit trailer settings are going to be pretty conservative. Until I see so an impulsive candle here. I'm also going to be pretty conservative myself when taking positions. If need be, and we do break through this support line, I will be looking to make entries a little bit lower and ladder myself in. So with that said, if you're not in the Discord group, please join up, comment on the video with your thoughts. I know this wasn't super TA intensive, but I always appreciate you guys commenting, and I'll catch you in the Discord. Take it easy.